The streets of Baghdad are alive with sound. Merchants hawk their wares, children chase pigeons, old men sip sweet lemon juice and gossip on street corners. It is a good time to be alive. The year is 780 CE and the Abbasid Caliphate stretches from Spain to the Persian Gulf. And nowhere else would you rather be than right here, right now. Except maybe at the palace where the Caliph Harun al-Rashid is throwing gold coins from a tower, enjoying the sight of common folk fighting over the riches. Not that anyone would ever know it was him. But there's another reason Baghdad is so great. You can find all kinds of wonders here, like a man who might be a madman or might be the wisest man in the city. They call him Bahlool, which means foolish, and he certainly seems to be one. Bahlool can be found most days in the poorer district of Kark, sitting in the shade, muttering to himself and talking with the sparrows. Now, he doesn't look like your typical sage, dressed as he is in rags, with unkempt hair and beard and fingernails that haven't seen water in weeks. But if you're not careful and happen to interrupt his conversation with a bird, he may just share some of his wisdom with you, and those who have heard Bahlool speak swear his words hold more truth than any sermon they've ever heard. In fact, there's a rumor going around the city that he could be the one the Caliph has been looking for, the one man who could solve a problem that's been plaguing the empire. For months, Harun has been searching for a just man to take on the position of chief judge, a man who could settle disputes quickly and fairly, a man the people would trust. But finding such a man is harder than it looks, and the longer the seat of the judge remains empty, the more chaotic the city becomes. Thieves and swindlers run rampant and crime goes unchecked. One day the Caliph summons his vizier and asks how the search for a new judge is coming along. "I am sorry to report, O mighty Caliph," says the vizier, bowing low, "but we have been unable to find a man worthy of the position. There are plenty of judges, of course, but none seem qualified enough." Harun nods his head. "Go then," he says, "and bring me the name of every judge in the city." The vizier bows and leaves the court, eager to please his master. It isn't long before he returns with a scroll listing every judge in Baghdad. But even this does not satisfy the Caliph, who demands to know not only their names, but something about them, a small distinguishing detail to help him choose. So back the vizier goes, and when he returns, the look on his face makes it clear he has found what the Caliph is looking for. "Here, O mighty Caliph," he says, handing the scroll to the ruler, "is the name of a man who might be able to help." At the top of the list is the name of Bahlool, son of Hassan, the supposed madman of Kirk. When the Caliph reads this out loud, a smile breaks across his face. Of course, he has heard of Bahlool, the supposed madman. Everyone has. And though the Caliph finds the man amusing, he hardly thinks that a raving lunatic is the answer to his problems. Nevertheless, the judge's vizier decides to pay him a visit. When he arrives at Bahlool's usual corner, however, he finds the spot empty except for a few stray pebbles and a scattering of bird droppings. The vizier looks around, confused, and approaches a nearby merchant. "Where is the man they call Bahlool?" he asks. "Madman, you mean?" "Oh, him," the merchant replies. "He went away yesterday, I think." The vizier frowns, wondering what kind of trick the supposed madman is playing. Could he have made up the whole thing? Has the Caliph been duped? The vizier is determined to get to the bottom of this. So he follows the merchant's directions to a bathhouse in a poorer part of town and waits patiently outside until Bahlool emerges, wrapped in a towel. When he sees who is waiting for him, the man dries his face on the towel, revealing a kind, weathered face with twinkling eyes. Then he folds the towel neatly and hands it back to the servant who took it off him. "Greetings, O son of Hassan," the vizier says, trying his best to hide his confusion. "I come from the Caliph." Bahlool looks at him for a moment before replying, "And I am sure you do, O son of the Caliph." The vizier clears his throat. "We want you to come with us and become the chief judge of Baghdad." At these words, Bahlool bursts into laughter. "Me? O son of the Caliph, you flatter me, but I am not fit for such an honor. I am too stupid, too uneducated. How could the Caliph appoint a madman as judge?" The vizier raises an eyebrow. "Madman? Who told you that? The birds, perhaps?" Bahlool laughs again, shaking his head. No, it's the people of the city. They say I'm crazy because I talk to the birds and wear dirty clothes. But I tell you, son of the Caliph, I am perfectly sane. In fact, I am the only sane person in this city. The vizier is taken aback by the man's audacity. Here he was thinking that the madman would make the perfect judge because no one would ever listen to him. But it seems that Bahlool is crazier than everyone thought. Still, the vizier has orders to bring Bahlool to the palace even if he resists. So he grabs the man by the collar and drags him toward the door. "Stop, son of the caliphate," Bahlool yells as they walk. "If you don't want me to be your judge, then let me tell you what ails this city." And so he did. As they walked through the marketplace, Bahlool pointed out dishonest merchants, lazy tax collectors, corrupt officials, and unjust judges. He mocked them and called them out for their crimes. All the while, the vizier dragged him along, unsure of what to do. Finally, they reach the palace gates and Bahlool stops dead in his tracks. "This is as far as I will go," he announces. "What?" the vizier asks, confused. "This is the palace. Don't you want to come inside?" Bahlool turns to him and replies, "Why should I enter the den of injustice? If the caliph wishes to hear the truth about his city, then he can come to me." With that, Bahlool turns and walks away, leaving the vizier speechless. What is this man playing at? Over the next few days, word gets around the city that the new judge is none other than Bahlool, the madman. People from all over come to him with their problems, hoping that he can help them. And he does. Using clever wordplay and riddles, Bahlool manages to solve every dispute that comes his way. At the same time, he never fails to embarrass those who try to trick him, exposing their greed and foolishness for all to see. In no time at all, he becomes the most popular man in Baghdad, with people cheering his name and bringing him gifts. But while he enjoys the adoration of the poor, he also catches the attention of people in power, people who don't like being exposed in public, like the greedy tax collector, Jafar al-Khazraji. Jafar is a cruel man who delights in tormenting the poor, seizing their property and throwing them in jail. He has already set his sights on Bahlool and plans to destroy him. Jafar visits the caliph, putting on a show of concern for the safety of the city. He tells Harun that Bahlool is nothing but a troublemaker and that he must be stopped. The caliph isn't convinced, but Jafar persists, claiming that Bahlool has threatened the very stability of the empire. Finally, the caliph agrees to let Jafar teach the madman a lesson. Jafar thanks the caliph for his generosity and goes out into the city to find Bahlool. He wants to humiliate him, to drag him through the mud and ruin his reputation. But he has no idea what Bahlool is capable of. After searching high and low, Jafar finally finds Bahlool sitting on a stone as usual, surrounded by a gaggle of children who are hanging on his every word. Jafar watches for a moment, then steps forward and says, "You are a madman, Bahlool, and I am here to put an end to your madness." Bahlool looks at him and replies, "I knew you would come. I knew you couldn't resist the opportunity to humiliate someone weaker than you." Jafar frowns. "How did you know?" he asks. "Because," says Bahlool, "greed is like fire. It burns brightly, but it consumes itself in the end." Jafar is taken aback by the man's words, but he quickly recovers and tries to strike Bahlool. But the madman is quicker than he is and dodges the blow easily. "You shouldn't have come alone," Bahlool taunts. "Now watch as I put an end to your career as tax collector." With that, Bahlool strikes and knocks Jafar out cold. Then he takes Jafar's money belt and throws it into the crowd of children who cheer and laugh. One child runs up to Bahlool and gives him a small pebble. "Here, O wise one," he says, "for protecting my family's honor." Bahlool looks at the boy and smiles. "Keep it, little one," he says. "It will come in handy someday." Jafar wakes up later that day, realizing that he has been defeated by a man they call a madman. Vengeful, he goes straight to the caliph and demands that Bahlool be put to death. But when Harun hears Jafar's accusations, he laughs. "Have you not learned your lesson yet?" he asks, shaking his head. "The man they call a madman is wiser than all of us. If you want my support, then drop this foolishness and go back to collecting taxes." Jafar is furious, but he knows better than to defy the caliph. So he leaves, grumbling under his breath. From that day on, Jafar avoided Bahlool, and the Caliph left the man alone. Bahlool continued to sit on his stone in the market, dispensing wisdom and helping those in need. No one ever figured out whether he was truly a madman or the wisest man in Baghdad, and Bahlool never let them know. But everyone agreed on one thing: the madman wasn't so mad after all. For more stories of daring adventure, follow our channel.